Good afternoon and welcome to the maiden edition of Talking Sport. I am Tijan Masane Sise, bringing back Talking Sports, a program of the yesteryears that was hosted back in the day by great Borambuj, Paul Njai, Mali Jones, and on which I was a contributor on Radio Gambia. On this maiden issue today, my guest is no other but the Honorable Lamin Kabba Bajo, President of the Gambia Football Federation and one-time Foreign Minister for the Republic of the Gambia. As soon as this Siggy tunes off from our studios, we will go into our questions, asking the President the burning questions that Gambians have been asking. We will also look into his tenure in office, the achievements, and the shortcomings.
Sorry, I'm not sure. I can't hear you now, Tijan.
Mr. President, I can hear you. The studio, can you fade that music down?
Sorry, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you now.
Okay. Studio, can you fade that music down?
The music is on. Is it on my side or from your side? I'm not sure.
It is from the studio. There we go. Are we set?
Yeah.
Mr. Lamin Kabba Bajo, President of the Gambia Football Federation, my childhood friend until we beat the Gambia Muslim High School. Those days we were not friends.
No, it's the other way around. The other way around.
We will work together in the foreign ministry as my boss. And today I am glad to have you on this maiden issue of Talking Sports on Linguère Post. And Mr. President, let's get into it. You have been in office now for 7 years. Looking back, what are the achievements of this GFF and shortcomings, if there were any?
Tijan, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and also congratulations for launching the sports edition on Linguère, one of the veteran sports journalists and lifetime football enthusiasts at all levels. We hope really you coming back into sports general and football in particular will really be another very important avenue of enlightening people and sharing information and giving them a platform to discuss issues surrounding sports and football in particular. Tijan, it's very difficult for me to enumerate my successes because I find it very difficult. I think the other stakeholders and observers are in a better state to do that. But nonetheless, since we came in 2014, you've been following Gambian football. The development of all levels has been unprecedented from the league in terms of the competitiveness of the league, the increment, the substantial increment in number of clubs at both first and second division, male and female, and also the expansion of the league to the countryside, to the non-urban regions. We used to know that currently at the league, we have teams representing almost all the regions. It is a big achievement. League matches also have been played beyond the Greater Banjul area. Just to name a few, and also the number of talents that the leagues produce in which attracts foreign clubs, rushing to our players. I don't have time to enumerate all those things. And then also the league price has also been increased substantially. And then we've introduced non-registration fees in 2014. We came into office. No club has ever paid a registration fee to participate in the league, both male and female, first and second. And then the third divisions also have already institutionalized regional leagues, which also is a feeder to the second division. They have their playoffs. So which means everybody is part of the league. And in addition to the abolition of registration fees for clubs, we also introduce support to clubs annually to support them to prepare and also to support them to facilitate their movement. These are all very important, supports, or these are all milestones in the development of the league. And then we look at women's football for the first time. We are able to be in the FIFA ranking for the first time, and it followed the number of successes that made in that side, and also you've seen our girls, some of them going beyond the boundaries of this country, playing for professional football. And then we also play in school football, which is your baby, it's your area, I know of. And then we've been having this regularly. And then from where the youth teams, national teams also come from. And then also we have when it comes to the capacity building and technical development, that's unprecedented. The number of referees and coaches that are produced over the years, I can't remember the figure. But because really is numerous. We are doing our own B license, C license here, and in addition to our D license, and then we've had a series of C license course, B license courses. So if you look at the number of coaches who are certificated through the federation also has increased. Equally, the number of referees, because there was a big mismatch between the technical people and the number of players and clubs. So these are all, I'm not in a position to give you the figures, but I think everybody who is interested in Gambian football knows about that. And then the federation also, if you look at going to the national teams, I don't need to repeat that. We've also seen that for the first time ever that the country qualified and participated in AFCON. Really, the performance or the results that ensued for everybody there for everybody and to see, and we all celebrated. I think that's the cap. Among other things, we also were able to go into some projects. You are fully aware of the football hotel, which is also one of its kind in MS. It's serving the football and in terms of reducing costs and also raising some revenue. It's been developed gradually, and then go to other related activities of the federation. Come to the federation today, you'll be very happy. You'll be happy. The quality of human resource that we have in place, running football day in, day out, is unprecedented. We have qualified and competent people who are running football every day and night under the leadership of a very competent general secretary. And those are some of the things that I want to say. And also we able to professionalize the senior national team men. We are aware of it now. The standard that we are able to put in place really has really proven dividends. Hence our qualification to our first AFCON. Maybe you say constraints here and there. For sure, there are many constraints. I will not use the word failures, but I think we have a lot of constraints in terms of limited resources that we have. But let me tell you, I'm being challenged. I will use the word challenge. Our main challenge is the infrastructure. This is what is on the lips of everybody. Every stakeholder, every sympathizer is very much particular about this, concerned about it, and we appreciate people's concern. You are aware of the number of available grounds that we have for our leagues, and then their state when we play in the leagues. In fact, sometimes some will even complain, why not we just close these particular pitches forever until they are done, because they turn out to be weapons for causing injuries to the players. And then we've been doing it gradually since 2014 we came in. We had embarked on a series of small projects to improve them, but we thought that was not sustainable. And then we ventured into at least major projects to uplift some of these pitches from Banjul to Brikama and then across to Gunjur and other places. We came on projects that we approached FIFA with, and then those are hot topic now on the lips of everybody. Every Gambian is concerned about that. We are also equally concerned about them. But that's a whole story of its own. What I can assure you is we started this project with good intention, and then we are very ambitious, really wanted to save the situation, and then we embark on this project to ensure that we provide what is at least the basic standard for the athletes. And then apparently, unfortunately, we had some delays. We really are beyond our control. These are funds that are not within our reach. Yes, consider they are approved, but they are not received. And reaching those funds really become cumbersome. And we are in a bid to ensure that at least we achieve the projects to improve them. Sometimes we even go in and dip in their own operational funds to finance some of those projects. So there is any challenge or big constraints. These are our areas that we are living with, but I can assure you and the wider audience that inshallah in the coming few months, those things, issues will be thing of the past. We are very much advanced with FIFA to get a final approval for the release of the funds that are still parked there. If you look at the project, total amount of project, the amounts approved compared with the amount of money received, we have only received a good part of the money. But these are things that we have to see the frustration and patience of the stakeholders, the users, and the communities, and the general football family on those issues. We just want to ask for their indulgence, to be a little bit more patient, and then so that this thing will be off the path very soon. To just round up, Tijan, as I told you, I'm pressed with time, but I can stop it there because you have many other topics to raise.
Well, you just touched on the stadia and renovation, a project that you embarked on. I know you've been following newspaper reports, social media. Gambians are flabbergasted about the stadium funds, allegedly from FIFA. Now, what can you concretely tell Gambians about this issue, and what measures are the GFF taking to make sure that the proposed stadia are built or renovated?
I said the process is on. Maybe we had some hitches here and there at the beginning. We thought we'll try to do them as quickly as possible, and then we took some shortcut measures. But at the end of the day, FIFA alerted us really any project that FIFA money must go to must be sanctioned by FIFA. We thought we hire consultants, they did their drawings, they floated the tenders, and then they select the contractors. We awarded the contracts, whilst anticipating the approval from FIFA. Some of them are already approved, but some of them were not approved at the time. But as we said, the pressure on us at the time to make them available for use, make it such that we thought we could rush it out. But at one point, FIFA told us really, before we pay this money, even though we've started working, paying contractors, consultants, if you visit them, at least some good work has been embarked on all of them, except a few. And then they had to send in a consultant or consultants to come in, look at the drawings, look at the physical structures in place, and their advice. So we have to go back to the drawing board. So that also brought about the delay. Dealing with them, things they have to look at it, adjust here, how do you call it, recommend this and that. So that process took several months. And then that's what is the main cause of the delay. And then we have to go back to them. As we speak now, our final request to So the approval and release of all the remaining funds really has gone an advanced stage, very advanced stage. We're hoping by end of by March, we will be able to be in a position that everything will be finalized with FIFA and they can start releasing the funds. So that's the problem. But I can assure you that it's not our interest, because the state of or the no news of this mini stadia across the greater Banjul area has caused more harm to even GFF. I can tell the last season, the figures is that our expenditure on the leagues has increased 700%. 700%. Because anytime we play at the stadium, people all of us love watching night matches, but it's a lot of money. An average of $10,000 per hour, and all those things are there. And then some of the private ones we hire, we pay them, and they also give extra support to clubs that are traveling far, like those going to the private pitch in Basori. We pay them, we give them extra money. We give them those that going to summer, also giving extra money. At one point last year, we are using Q City. We are using a private owned pitch also in Kitty. So those things are, and then sometimes you play 2-3 matches at the stadium with the lights. So the cost has really increased phenomenally. And also the inconvenience of using some of those locations and the pressure on us to be able to complete our league within a time frame, because it's also one of the requirements of FIFA forward. You must play your league over a specific period of time, and also minimum number of matches to be played. So it's not an easy thing. So as I said, it's a big burden on us also. It's not a pleasure for us. We are not enjoying it, and the intention has ever been good. You could have stayed and said it's not a business, because all those pitches that have been renovated or built doesn't belong to the federation. These are things that are under the responsibility of communities and local authorities, who over the years couldn't do anything or didn't do anything about them. But we feel that we are responsible for football, and we can also come in and do our part. And that's what landed us into this. We have no regrets. We are happy that we took that decision. Where it's unfortunate, we are not happy that it took this long, and with all this attendant inconvenience to us and to the stakeholders.
Now, let's talk about the Gambia national team, the Scorpions. Recently, you played in Cameroon in the African Nations Cup, and history will ever be kind to you as the president with your federation that qualified the Gambia to the AFCON. Very applauded on this achievement. Now, many believe that there is no foundation because there is no concrete program on the ground. Our national team is built around overseas players. And even the coach, I don't think has a home assignment in his contract. Now, what do you say to that?
Actually, that there's no foundation?
Well, that there is no foundation on the ground in the Gambia, that the team is built only around foreign players.
No, the foreign players are Gambians who are living abroad, because they played most of, I can tell you, other than the 5, out of that 28-man list, only 5 were not actually born in this country or did not play football in this country. All the rest, at one point or the other, played the league matches in this country. Because of their performance, they see themselves outside by way of professional contracts. Maybe 1 or 2 also, whilst playing the country, decided to go and use the fast way by way of going through the back. So that aspect is not correct. Even today, I can tell every day or every other day, there is a request for a transfer, a request for an attestation, there's a request for a player passport for players playing in National League here. So look, all of them, from the Omar Collis to Buba Sane, to the formidable James Gomez, Musa Barrow, Ibrahim Akoli, all of them, except 5. So then that notion that there's no foundation, I don't think, that's what I started saying that. It's because of the improvement of the league that we're able to export that number of players outside.
Okay. Another question that I want to ask. I like the GFA, the GFF itself. I keep saying GFA,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
GFF
you have,
itself.
yeah, you belong to the past. Don't worry, come home.
Yeah, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Now, are you concerned when you see members of the GFF openly manifesting political allegiance to political parties? And if so, does this in any way pressure you as a leader?
No, there are two. When you talk about GFF, there are two components. We have the staff component and we have the board members, the executive members. Globally, there is nothing that stops a member of the GFF executive, like in any other country, from being active in politics in any form. So those people like myself today, if I wish, I can join any political party. If I form any political party, I will not be breaking neither GFF rules or its constitution, nor that of FIFA or CAF. So that one really for the elected people, that's normal, it's universal. For the staff, I'm sure you must be aware of the recent noise that came around about two members of the staff. That was dealt with accordingly. We have our rules, we have our staff regulation, we have a disciplinary code, and those matters are behind us now. The guys have since complied with the staff rules so that they can keep their job. But as for members of the executive, there's no barring them. Cross into next door Senegal, Mr. Senghor has been mayor for Gore for the past several years. He in fact owns a political party. Yes, one of his vice presidents, Mr. Sow, currently is a cabinet minister and is a mayor of one of the cities of in Senegal. So just to take the most recent past president of Guinea-Bissau Federation, he was and still a member of parliament. And many, I can count many. So as far as football administration is concerned, elected officials, members of board or the executive, are not banned or restricted by any law or regulation from partaking in political activities, except for the staff. That's happening. You just compare to the government. The president is a politician. He can do any politics, but the secretary general cannot. You go to the ministry is a politician, but the permanent secretary could not. So this is universal. This is universal best practice, and we don't think we are any different from the rest of the world.
Okay. Now, let's go back to the national team, the debacle in Cameroon. And I want us to put this out there. The national team belongs to the government of the Gambia. And by that, the government of the Gambia also funds the national team and arrange their travel and all the necessary logistics pertinent to the Gambia national team. Now, I want to ask about the employment and salary of the national team coaches, including local coaches. Who foots that bill?
You rightly said, as a matter of principle and practice, all national team coaches are employed on behalf of them by the federation, but the bill to be footed by the government. When we came in 2014, and by 2015, the first coach that we hired was being paid by the government of the Gambia through a sponsorship. But since he left, he was succeeded by, Mr. Sandong, you are aware of, and up to the end of this contract, up to the time we hired Tom, up to today, the federation is footing the bills. In the principle, they agree. They are responsible for the hiring and paying of the salaries, but up to today, it's the federation. These are all coming from our operational fund. In 2015-16, we also got approval from the government, the Ministry of Sports Council, to hire the local coaches so that we can localize this good chunk of technical department. This is under 20, under 23, under 17, and the goalkeeper coach. These have been hired and then they have been paid. We agreed on a particular amount of money, their salaries that they got. Unfortunately, these people's contract has expired, renewed because we needed it, and these people are still on the payroll of the Gambia Football Federation.
Let's go back.
Including the national team coach, senior national team coach.
Are you true? Let's go back to the Gambia national team, Cameroon in particular. We did extremely well in Cameroon. Like one time, the most tenured captain in the Gambia, Sekou Sarr, who actually is the brain behind the development of Gambian football, before they went to Cameroon, he said, and I quote, "We may be counted out, but we are in to shock the continent and the world," and we
Yeah,
surely did.
indeed.
Now, given the performance of the Scorpions in Cameroon, there's a difficult challenge ahead of repeating our qualification. How prepared and how are we confident are you, the president of the GFF, that we will return in 2023?
Yeah, very much, very, very confident. I think we have everything it takes now to be regulars at AFCON. We have the materials as the players. We have the technical support as the coach and his team. And equally, or if not more importantly, also the financial support that's been coming of late from the government. Because the burden on the federation has been too much, and the federation, our resources have been directed mainly to the national team. But now, as it happens now in the past about 2-3 years, about 3 years or 4 years now, I would say, it has changed. The dynamic has changed. The current leadership of the government, from the president to the ministry, really have been doing very well, despite the challenges with competing priorities of government. So what we are seeing today, and we have no doubt that will continue for government to come in and support in the financing of the senior national team, so that we can maintain the standard we raise in terms of the motivation for the players, and also other logistical payments in terms of the hotels, in terms of travel arrangements, and many other things. Because those are very important, those things, they impact a lot on the performance of the team. And I'm not talking about your days. You have a story to tell. You know how Billy and the Sekou Sarrs and the others, what they used to go through. But that's a different world. That's quite different from the current players. It's a pride for them to go and play for their country. They sacrifice to come and play for their country. But when it comes to certain incentives and other things, those are they are not compromised. I would want to tell you. But with the support, the way things are going on, we are very confident that we'll pass and we'll be in Cote d'Ivoire in 2023 and subsequently to Guinea, inshallah, 2025. That's what our target, and we have no hesitation.
Mr. President, it was good you touched on Sekou Sarr and Biri. I was coming to that question because most of our veterans in the Gambian national team, whom you know and interact with all the time, they never had the luck or opportunities to be endowed with money during their playing careers. Yet they poured every ounce of Gambian sweat and blood every time they wore our national colors. Now that most of them are aging, some in serious health conditions, what plans does the GFF have to establish a veteran welfare fund to help these patriots that donned our national colors in faraway lands in the yesteryears?
Yeah, and this is a necessity, and I would say I'll admit that it's long overdue. We started the process. It was initiated by one of the past ministers of youth and sport, Mr. Sidibe Hadrami. And I came up with the idea, and the discussion started on it. But unfortunately, it has since gone very far. And we at GFF also currently are discussing about it. And we want to do it in tandem with government, if possible. Or otherwise, we will have to go ahead and do it. I should admit, it's long overdue, but it's something that really we are considering, and I think we'll have to speed up, because often we come across some very, how do you call it, unfortunate situations where people who really have fought very hard for this country in the past find seeing themselves in certain situations, either social or health, that really will have to run after each other. Yourself, I'm aware, that raise funds here and there to support them. But I think really, I should admit, it's one of the areas that we haven't done much other than the intermittent individual support that we extend to them without having any institution that will be able to run that. We'll have to do that quickly. But the other challenge that we are aware of is the issue of the veterans coming together under one umbrella, and then because we also need their support. You know what's going on in that camp today. We have 2 or 3 groups, and it's difficult for them to come together and have one umbrella, because that eventually that should be a sine qua non for anything that's related to the veterans. When we say the veterans, we either call them national team, former players, veterans, like it depends what we have to agree on. I know there's an association that's existing that is working with GFF, but as we speak now, there's another group coming up. We're not satisfied with that one, and there are meetings going on here and there. So we, GFF, refuse to be dragged into it at that level, because it's a private association. We thought the likes of you could come in and intercede and ensure that they all come together and then put something on the table for the Federation and the government as a body. Because coming in twos and ones, some going to the ministry on their own, or 2 or 3 people go. When they leave, another 1 or 2 will go, 3 or 4 will come to me, or the other will counter. Wouldn't help them. With all due respect to them, they're all my elders. And then the respective generations of national teams. They can have your different alumni as groups, associations of 80s, of 70s, in the early 90s, but there should be one umbrella association that will speak for the veterans. Because there's no doubt that the different groupings are not communicating, and also wouldn't help them, it won't help us.
I can assure you that we've tasked people to work on that. Bas Samba Jau and Michael Nicol and Bob Corsilas out here from the diaspora, and we'll take that on, and we'll try to make that happen, because it's important that happens. Now, talking at grassroots, in your opening statement, you talked about grassroots, the schools and the academies. Of course, I have an interest in this one. What is the GFF doing to support and empower academies in what they do? In terms of funding, technical support, etc.
Yeah, I think this is something that we also need the collaboration of those playing that the academies. What we did first was, when we introduced a regulation for the academies, we thought we should decentralize the operations, just not to deconcentrate, the activities at the federation. We have regional football associations. So the first thing was that every academy would register it with the regional association of the region they fall. And now it's those regional associations that will take the lead. For sure, they are all part of the GFF. The presidents are members of the executive, and they have regional coaches. Each of them have some, even 2, based on their geographical expansion, so that at least when they work at the level of regions, then you can come to you have the pyramid system, and the technical department is always available to lend support to any academy or group of academies to support them. But what we've seen also is still the disparate nature of things. Often we hear about, for example, academies having a tournament here and there, and sometimes you ask the technical department, they are not aware of it. So these are areas, these are avenues that the technical department, through the youth coaches, can do the scouting. They can identify and mentor and follow some of the young talented ones. I attended the finals at your academy some months back, and the talents are so they have a phenomenon. But unfortunately, the technical department people, the coaches, we are not actually active during that tournament. So I think that maybe the academy, like I know we have the West Coast Regional Academic, West Coast Academies Association. They organize, annual competitions here. So what is just by and large, the GFF really not only has the obligation to support the academies in terms of technical and where possible financial, not only the obligation, but it's the interest of GFF so that we can follow and recruit those talents who have the potential to play for the respective national teams. We still have to admit the technical department and the administration still have a lot of work to do that, to coordinate that. We don't want to grab the responsibility of regions and bring them over to the center, which is not fair. So this is why we are even trying. Until a few weeks ago, we were talking about how we can further support the regional coaches to further capacitize them to be able to include. They are it's part of it also, but give extra attention to the academies like they are doing with the schools to ensure that their activities are followed, and they are the one who will transmit the needs and constraints of the academies to the federation, to the technical department. But I agree with you. There is not much going on directly between the academies and the federation, and we need to improve. We should improve on that.
Now, talking about CAF and the stadium banning our stadium, the Independent Stadium, which really has not even reached its lifespan. The Gambia plays Cameroon tomorrow at the Independent Stadium. When is the ban in effect?
Sorry, when the ban is in effect?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
the ban concerns, they do it gradually. As we speak now, is the A national team matches that it affects. Okay. That's the qualifiers to Cote d'Ivoire 2023.
Okay.
So it goes in stages. Okay. We hope and pray that it wouldn't reach to a total ban, total closure. So they playing tomorrow's female team match there really is in line. It's not against any the ban.
Okay. What is the relationship between government and the GFF in terms of a working relationship?
Yeah, it's good. I can say it's good. I would even say it's very good. Definitely, it's very good. We are working very closely, and I think this AFCON also really brought us closer, much closer than ever before. Everybody understands each other's rules, especially the government also understands and appreciate what the federation is going through and what our rules are and what our needs are. So I think really the coming out of this recent AFCON really, even prior to that, that's why we are able to go there together. We almost talk every day, we meet, and then we solve problems together. So the relationship is definitely very good and very encouraging as it is now.
Now, when I spend time in Banjul, of course, I watched a lot of games there, even called half quarter of a game there. Some of my colleagues in the media fraternity, they claim that the GFF is not transparent. When you hear statements like that, Mr. President, respond to that.
Okay, maybe I'll not put everybody in the same box, but those who say that is very unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. There is no organization in this country, including the government of the Gambia, which is more transparent than the Gambia Football Federation. Come to accountability. This GFF Federation is audited 3 times in a year, 3 times a year. We have what we call the central audit. Those are external auditors beyond the boundaries of this country, not even from the country. Sometimes you just sit and they send you a letter that auditors are coming from this country. They come in and audit the FIFA funds alone between a specific period of 6 months. Like they will come in January or March, and they will come in July or June or July, for example. That's twice they come. And also we have the what we call the statutory audit. We have our local external auditors who also will come in every year to audit all the books. And this, the report of the audit, what we call the financial statement, is availed to every member of the GFF in an AGM. So I don't know what else, because these are the most important, the financial. And every year, when we took over in 2014, we never missed a single annual General Assembly meeting or rather, AGM. This is regular every year from 2014 up to today, until last December. We will not go beyond December without having an AGM. At least 2 weeks to 10 days, every member of the GFF receive the notice for the AGM, which include the financial statements of the previous year, as it is bound by the auditors. They receive the activity report of the year. They also receive the minutes of the previous meeting, and also the budget for the year coming. And this is in everybody's hands. And it's sent to the government, the Ministry Sports Council, sent to FIFA. All these documents are sent to CAF also. And we have, if you talk about accountability or transparency, there's no forum or platform other than the annual general meeting. What are they telling the stakeholders? And some of the journalists who now turn as football administrators, we have a good number of them who are secretaries general of certain clubs who are members of the GFF General Assembly, and they attend represent their clubs. And this is what I think we have. In fact, sometimes people will tell me, President, you are too democratic. I go to FIFA, I go to CAF, I go to WAFU, and in a different platform. GFF General Assembly is something that no topic is stopped from discussion on this, unless, as the chairman asked, any other comment that I didn't see a hand up. But it continues until nobody has a question to ask. So I cannot understand if they are saying, but as I said, we have a good number of journalists who are now sports administrators, who are, some of them are even now into football politics. So people should also distinguish. When certain people talk, you can talk from what point? I think the journalists, the media, Sport Journalists Association and the Gambia Press Union should look into this. People who are practicing journalists, I don't think it's ethically correct. Maybe there's no law. I'm not a journalist, I wouldn't know, but I don't think it's ethically correct for them also to come and take position in clubs and be involved, reporting as journalists, while at the same time participating in football politics and also in football administration. Anyway, you're a veteran, you know it more than I do. So if maybe some of them would say it, you've seen some of them talking, they are not talking because they are journalists. They are talking because they are interested political, they have interest in the politics of it. So I think that's okay. But generally, we are acceptable. We have a functional communication department, though we still have a lot of work to do. But all of us, myself and my colleagues in the executive, everybody is always available to General Montamba. You call him many times available. Ibu Fai, Bakar Jame, myself, the General Secretary, you know him, he's a friend of the media. The communication director, being a professional journalist himself, he has a journalism degree, among others, BBC. So I don't know what sort of lack of transparency somebody would want to give. Tian, we did something that even some of our colleagues say, why do you have to do this? When they talk about the projects, field projects started, what do you do? You provided a full account of the state of this project, including the cost of projects and even the payments affected to contractual consultants. We even realized could be a breach of their contracts. You understand? But in the name of transparency, to tell everybody, look, the Bajo pitch cost this amount. This is the contractor, Tijan is the contractor. So far, he's paid this amount, this balance. Kabba is a consultant. This is what he's paid, this is the balance. This money is project fund. this amount that we receive from FIFA, this is what is balanced. What is paid, this is what we got from our operational force to fast track the works. The accountant, we are not talking to people. They are very intelligent people in this country. Let them look at those and take us to task. If there's any fraud that's identified in that, and this been given up to FIFA. When they saw it, they called this. Oh, what is this on your you saw this thing on your website, and you said no. In fact, you shared with the press. Some newspapers put it as a center page. So which institution will do that in this country? So maybe that's one-sided. But we appreciate. We try to improve on it. If anybody feels we are not transparent enough, we'll continue doing our best. We try to give as much as possible to the stakeholders and general public. Jan, I remind you, I don't want to.
Mr. President, I know I've taken quite your time, but this is the maiden issue. Now, let me be clear here. I said it before. First of all, let me just go back to that point. Let me make a statement that I have been disciplined back in my day for being a commentator and at the same time an executive member for Young Africans. So I was queried on that.
You'll be surprised to know how many practicing journalists are secretaries general of clubs now or members of clubs now, and they are also operating as journalists. And
well, that would be really up for conjecture, quite frankly. But Mr. President, let me play devil's advocate here before I let you go.
Also involved in football. We have not African concern, right? Sorry, call came in. I'm using the phone.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here. I said at the opening of this program.
I missed the voice. So yeah, sorry.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate. Like I said, you are storied in Gambian football, having been the first president under whose watch Gambia qualified to the African Nations Cup. Not only that, our U17, our U20s, our female team have performed extremely well under your watch. Will you be running for the election, Mr. President?
I'm not sure if you could hear me. I can't hear you now with this call.
Okay. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Oh.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Not possible.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? It looks like we've lost the connection to Banjul. Mr. President, can you hear me? Well, we probably will have to save that question for another day, but it was going to be the last question to ask the president if he would be running for the election when the next GFF elections come up. We have lost him in the connection. For all of you that were with us on this maiden edition of Talking Sports, I am yours truly, Tijan Masane Sise on the Linger Post. Till we come your way again in a fortnight. For all of us at Linger Post, so long, till we meet again in God's time. You all have a good evening.